Moving on to my second pickup of the week. After Jerome Ford, it gets a little ugly, but I love Tank Dell. He's one of the last players on this week's list that I truly want to go out of my way to go get and would spend about 25% or so of my FAAB to go out and get him. A couple other rookies we're going to mention right after him, too, that I also intrigued me a ton. But let's start with my favorite, Tank Dell. CJ Stroud, let's start there, actually. Third in the NFL with 91 pass attempts. That's creating a massive aerial pie. I can't lie and say it's a delicious aerial pie. It's been pretty hideous, to be honest with you. But he does that, creates massive volume opportunities, and it looks like CJ Stroud has eyes for Tank Dell. He led the team in targets with 10, target share 24%. He was second in routes at 82%, and ended up having a quality day on this usage. 7 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Really nice day for Tank Dell. Tons of those layup looks, playing the slot, getting open, real shifty at the line. He was shaking his defenders left and right all day. He also brings that deep speed too. So it's not just that short game that he can work. He can truly get deep and take the top off the defense if he'd like to. We saw that in the preseason with that long connection. Caught that nice grab in the end zone. The guy can do it all. That touchdown he had, he put the defender, just went flying and juked him out. That sudden change of direction is what we love about this kid. So moving forward, if he's going to be playing 82% of the routes, seeing 20% of the targets, don't forget that CJ Stroud banged the table. I want Tank Dell. After they played in the combine together, he wanted this guy beyond belief. The team listened to him, appeased CJ Stroud, and here we go. They're lightened up in their first extended action together on the NFL field. I think Tank Dell is well worth that 25% or so bid. Now below him, Jayden Reed. He ends up being my number 7 pickup of the week, but I did want to lump him into this kind of rookie conversation here. We saw Jordan Love go for another 3 TDs, and 2 of those TDs went to Jayden Reed. 4 of 8 targets, 37 yards, and those 2 scores to give him 20 fantasy points. Wide receiver 16 on the week, doubling up the next closest Packers receiver in looks. He was targeted on a whopping 33% of his routes run. Now, that's a little bit of the rub here. Only 67% of the routes pretty firmly locked into that slot role, which isn't a bad place to be, a nice high percentage. You saw the drawn up pop pass for him that gave him that easy touchdown. So good volume when he's in, when he's running routes, but he was below multiple receivers on that list. And Romeo Doubs leading the way, and Christian Watson wasn't in. Expected to probably return to the field this week too. So I think Reed will have that role on lock in the slot. So 67% or so snaps and routes seems about right. And clearly he can do some damage with them, but I would love to see how he performs with Christian Watson before vaulting up the list. But some of my favorite scouts, JJ Zachariason, Matt Harmon, had a great podcast this preseason about how he reminds them of Stephon Diggs, the way he can get crafty with his routes and still get deep even though he doesn't have elite speed. Really big fan of Jayden Reed, the player. Flashed all preseason, flashing so far this year. Good stuff out of him. And last, I wanted to mention Marvin Mims, 16% roster. He's my number 10 pickup of the week. The bottom of this list and bottom of the rookies here, but not because of a lack of talent. Remember, Scott Barrett, my favorite analyst in the game, had this guy as his number 2 pre-draft rookie wide receiver prospect. He was the best receiver in high school for multiple seasons, had a good career despite lackluster quarterback play over there in college. And so far, the deep speed has been very, very apparent. 113 yards and a score on just 2 targets against the Commanders. And it's even more impressive when you consider that Marvin Mims only ran 14% of the routes, yet somehow still accounted for 45% of the air yards, thanks to a whopping 45.5 average depth of target. And he hauled them both in for first that 60-yard touchdown and then a 53-yard reception, getting deep against the defense there. He also added a 45-yard punt return, so making plays all over the field. This was the first pick of the Sean Payton era, despite not needing receivers on paper. They wanted to make sure go out and get him. You wish the role would match it early on, and he would be playing at least 60% of the snaps like freaking Brandon Johnston did. And he had multiple scores this week. So you can only imagine, kind of gets you thinking, what if Mims has that role if and when? You got to imagine with this type of elite speed and prospect profile that he will eventually take it over. We know Judy and Sutton also have big injury histories. So yeah, the negative 16 to 66 snaps, 5th on the team behind Sutton, Judy, Brandon Johnson, even a little Jordan Humphrey played more snaps than Marvin Mims, but the damage he did when he was in there. You got to imagine a smart coach like Sean Payton is going to continue to elevate this role. So I do rank them again: Tank Dell, then Jayden Reed, and then Marvin Mims. With Tank Dell, about 25% of my FAAB. Reed, maybe 10%. Marvin Mims, that 5 to 7% range. Go get these guys, though. Exciting young talents that can only, I think, uphill from here. It's only going to ascend. So big fans of those 3 rookies. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.